After making my last video about the Jedi Enclave on Dantooine, I've noticed this question pop up on numerous occasions now, and that question is whether Kreia intentionally intended to murder the Jedi Masters on Dantooine. And a sort of subset question of that would be, did Kreia kill them, or did she just kind of leave them as lifeless husks? So let's get the easier question out of the way. Yes, Kreia did kill them. I don't really understand the sort of misconception that the Jedi Masters were kind of alive, but their bodies were just sort of forceless, blah blah blah, that kind of idea. Because literally, if you walk up to the Jedi Masters after the events in the Jedi Enclave, the first line that comes up if you click on them is, "This Master is dead," or something along that line. And then it further explains that they are more than just dead, they are utterly lifeless. So that's that question, and I hope it clears it up. Now, the real meat of this video is asking the question, did Kreia actually intend to kill them? Did she purposely go up to them, drain them of the Force with the purposeful intent to see them die? And I think a lot of this comes down to your perspective, generally from Kreia's personality and the actions you see in the game, but I don't believe that her intention was to murder them out of cold blood. Kreia as a character is a teacher. She is somebody that is trying to bestow lessons upon everybody that surrounds her, even those that she despises. And I personally believe that it was Kreia's hope that when the Jedi exile arrived, the Jedi Masters would come to accept a new truth, and that they would take from their experiences on Duxon, Dantooine and Nar Shaddaa respectively, and they would change this kind of arrogant view that they are utterly correct in every way and listen to the Jedi exile, who of which at this point is essentially an extension of Kreia's philosophies. And because of this newfound knowledge, that they would perhaps consider changing their views. This was Kreia's intended victory. She wanted her teachings to be right, she wanted her teachings to be true. But of course, as we know, the Jedi Masters do not change their ideals. They stay within that kind of dogmatic bubble. They believe that Mitra was a corruption of sorts. So Kreia steps in this moment and gives them the final lesson. Now, in my personal opinion, the monologue in the Jedi Enclave ruins is quite possibly one of my favourite bits of Star Wars storytelling ever, and the general dialogue exposition is absolutely fantastic. It's just wonderful. And in this moment, she is trying to condemn the Jedi for not listening to the Jedi exile's lived experience. The Jedi are basically telling Mitra the exact same thing that they were hiding from her years ago, that she's a disgrace, she's more of a threat than the Sith, and that we don't care, we're just going to disconnect you from the Force and we hope that fixes everything. And that's the beauty of Kreia's first line when she walks into the council chamber, and she says, "She has brought truth, and you condemn it, the arrogance." The Jedi don't even try to understand the Jedi exile. They don't even try to take her seriously. They have this narrow-minded view of what she is, and they're not going to change from that. And it was in this specific moment that Kreia is essentially giving these Jedi Masters a last option of sorts, a choice. And that choice is, you take the lesson of the Jedi exile in this moment, or you die with all of the old ways. She's giving them the choice to essentially break away from that dogmatic view and grow beyond it, or you can die with the old order that was causing so much suffering and misery. There was no place for a future Jedi Order with more self-strengthening ideals when you had these three old morons trying to justify the disgraceful behaviours of the previous Jedi. This is of course then when Kreia tells them, "Do you wish to learn the teachings of all wars, of all tragedies that scream across the galaxy? You, who have forever seen the galaxy through the Force, see it through the eyes of the exile." This one line is essentially that ultimatum. And of course, as we see, as the players of neither Vrook, Kavar or Zez actually heed the words that Kreia was trying to teach them, and instead of choosing to let go of the Force in that moment to keep themselves alive, they die without it. One thing that you learn as you play Knights of the Old Republic 2 is that Kreia doesn't intentionally murder or cause suffering for the sake of murder or suffering. Everything that she does is an attempt to strengthen or provide a lesson, whether it be through suffering or strength. She doesn't take pleasure in causing pain as many Sith do, she just despises the inability to learn from it. And another belief of hers is that you do need to suffer. You do need to go through tragic events and pain to be able to be the best version of yourself. And this is why she despises the Jedi's views on everything, because they are so against that. Now, if you ask the question, did Kreia intend to murder them? I think it comes down to how you perceive Kreia as a character. As I discussed in a video a couple of weeks ago, I'll put it up in the top right if you're interested, is Kreia a true villain? Kreia is not doing things throughout this game with malicious intent to cause pain and suffering and misery. She's manipulating events, yes, she's betraying people that trust her, yes, but she's trying to do it for the sake of a goal that she believes is just. And the irony is that we see later in the game that Kreia gives herself this ultimatum. She is prepared to die at the end to allow this future generation to thrive, because she knows that she doesn't belong in this new space. She belongs to that old order, and there is no relevance for her anymore within that. A Sith Lord is not willing to die for the betterment of the Jedi. A villain isn't willing to die for the betterment of the hero. But at the same time, a good character, a heroic character, isn't willing to cause suffering to ensure the betterment of others either. And as mentioned in so many videos all across YouTube about Kreia, and many on my own channel, that's the beauty of Kreia. She is unbelievably layered and dynamic with everything she says, all of her views and ideals. And it's why so many people find the character so fascinating. It's why so many people kind of idolize much of what she says. Not because of her villainous traits, but because of the words she speaks. There is so much to relate to behind them. There is so much logic. And somehow they kind of connect to one's soul if you really try to understand them. Even though she's supposed to be the baddie. And to me, that is the beauty of a good antagonist. But an ultimatum is still an ultimatum. I'm sure there are some people watching this video that will consider that ultimatum a death sentence, and you know, that's a perfectly reasonable view. But I don't believe her general intent was to murder them. It was to give them the choice to live, learn, and to grow beyond, but they chose not to do that. Ironically, an argument could be made on the flip side that the Jedi actually killed themselves in that moment. They chose not to give up their power, and so they paid the price for that. It's such an interesting question, and I think it lends precedence to how incredible this entire moment within the rebuilt Jedi Enclave is. And even today, there's so many questions and perspectives on how that moment played out in the relevant moment, and what the intentions were during it. And that's why I do believe that it is quite possibly one of the greatest moments in Star Wars, and like I said, it's without a doubt, for me, the best piece of written dialogue in the franchise. I haven't really done a video like this for a couple of weeks, so it's nice to just ramble and talk about Star Wars. And if you have a question about Knights of the Old Republic or Star Wars that you'd like to see from my perspective, or just a different perspective from your own, feel free to let me know in the comments, because trust me, I read pretty much everything, and it's quite possible I may even cover your questions in a future video, so if you have one, ask away. And also, tell me below, what's your opinion on this topic? Do you think that Kreia intentionally murdered them, or do you think there was maybe something more to it? Do you believe maybe that what I'm saying is right, that she was giving them a choice, or maybe do you believe that the Jedi actually killed themselves? I'd love to know. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see more Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic content from me. Also, don't forget to come and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and join the Discord server, because I would love to have you there. And if you'd like to support the channel a little bit further, perhaps consider taking a look at Patreon. All links are in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video. But until then, may the Force be with you. always.